For more, I want to bring in Thomas Juneau. He's a professor of public and international affairs at the University of Ottawa. And Thomas, I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so we just heard from the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, earlier, where he said, our will is endless, but this is not endless. Let's contrast that with what President Trump had to say, speaking with reporters yesterday. Have a listen.
President, on Iran, you called it an excursion. You said it would be over soon. Are you thinking this week it will be over?
No,
Are you talking
soon.
about days?
I think soon.
Okay, and with respect
Very soon. Look, everything they have is gone, including their leadership.
So what do you make, or what should we make, Thomas, of the mixed messaging coming from the highest levels of the U.S. government?
Well, the only coherence so far has been the mixed messaging. This has been a constant since day one, whether on the timelines, President Trump yesterday referring to very soon, but then later yesterday saying it's not going to end this week, and then Pete Hegseth having a number of messages this morning emphasizing determination, but also emphasizing that it's not an endless war. Whether it's on the objective itself, is it regime change or not? We have heard both. Is it nation building or not? Is it to weaken the Islamic Republic? Is it to force it back to the negotiating table? We've heard all of these objectives from Trump, from Pete Hegseth, also from Secretary of State Rubio. So at this point, I think the only way that I can make sense of that is that President Trump is doing what he's usually doing, which is purposely not having a coherent objective, blowing things up, in this case, literally in Iran, and waiting to see where the dust settles, where the pieces fall. And whenever he decides that it's enough, that he can seize a personal political advantage, he will call an end to these strikes. That could be later this week. It could be next week or next month. In none of these cases, I would be surprised.
All right. Yeah. I mean, when you hear Pete Hegseth say our will is endless, but this is not an endless war. I mean, I think that is very confusing messaging. I don't really know how to make sense of that. I think people are having trouble. And then we did hear Karoline Leavitt basically, it'll be President Trump who determines when there's no longer a threat to the U.S. and its allies. So what do you think we can take from that?
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned Karoline Leavitt, who's the spokeswoman for the White House. Yeah. Just a few hours ago, she even specified what is meant by unconditional surrender. If you recall, a few days ago, President Trump asked for the unconditional surrender of the Islamic Republic. It's not clear what that means. Does that mean the Islamic Republic survives but surrenders and then agrees to forego some of its more aggressive foreign policies? Or does its unconditional surrender mean the demise of the Islamic Republic? That was never made clear. A few hours ago, Karoline Leavitt literally said, and I don't have the word for word, but the spirit was very clearly, unconditional surrender will be when President Trump decides that there is an unconditional surrender. So this just reinforces the point that whenever President Trump decides that he's had enough, mostly I would say because domestic political pressure on rising oil prices, on tumbling stock markets, on dissatisfaction within the Republican Party, the more isolationist factions of the Republican Party, when that accumulates, he will decide that it's enough, not when the situation inside Iran reaches a specific point.
Yeah, I think she was trying to say it's not going to be when the Iranians sort of come and say, we surrender in some kind of blatant, overt way. It'll be Donald Trump who decides when that surrender is met, if it ever is. What's your assessment of Iran's capabilities right now? How much has their military capability been degraded by the U.S. and Israeli actions? Because we hear all kinds of numbers of 80, 90% just based on the Navy, the ballistic missiles capabilities. What's your sense?
It's difficult to come to a precise answer with that because the fog of war means that we don't know what exactly has been destroyed. My sense at this point is that it's somewhere in the middle. So what President Trump said earlier today, they have nothing left, is clearly inaccurate. They still have a lot of capability left. That being said, they have suffered significant damage. What exactly are the numbers? I don't know. But Iran's air defenses have been almost completely degraded. And now the U.S. and Israel have near complete control of Iranian airspace. That allows them to target other military assets, missile launchers. How many have been destroyed? Is it half, a bit more, a bit less? Not clear, but a lot have been destroyed. What makes it really difficult to assess is that we have seen the number of missile launches from Iran significantly decrease by 80 or 90%. That is quantifiable. The question, though, to which we don't have the answer is why? Is it because Iran doesn't have enough launchers left? Probably not completely. Is it because its stockpiles have been degraded or destroyed? to some extent, but probably not completely. What is probably the case is that Iran is now focusing more on cheaper drones, which forces Gulf states and Israel and the U.S. to use their finite stockpiles of interceptors so that when these stockpiles go down, perhaps Iran can come back with more missile strikes, which can cause more damage. So right now, there is a bit of a race between, on the one side, Iran's missiles, and on the other side, everybody else's interceptors. And how that race evolves is not clear to us.
And then there's a new supreme leader, the son of the former supreme leader who was killed. Is he a target right now of Israel and the U.S.?
Absolutely. Israel and the U.S. have said so. And in this case, there's every reason to believe what Israel and the U.S. have said. Since Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of Ali, who was the supreme leader since 1989, he officially became the supreme leader on Sunday, our time. Since then, he has not been seen in public, and he has not even released a video of himself. There are rumors that he might have been injured in previous strikes. I don't know if that's true or not, so I wouldn't jump to any conclusion. But clearly, he will be extremely careful with his movements. Keep in mind that his father died on the first Saturday of the war because of an abysmal operational security failure. He met with many of his top lieutenants above ground in his compound. U.S. and Israeli intelligence caught that, bombed, and he died. So because that happened to his father, that happened to a number of other senior leaders, his movements will be severely restricted, and therefore so will his communications.
Thomas, always great to get your insight. Thank you, Thomas Juneau, joining us from Ottawa.